Now on CoastTV News.
Learning continues despite closures, how teachers are keeping lesson plans moving as many students face another snow day. Plus, setting the rules of the game, lawmakers to review changes to Delaware's Fairness in Girls Sports Act.
And wind chills as low as the single digits this morning, tracking even more bitterly cold air ahead of another potential snow threat over the weekend.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. Today is Tuesday, January 27th. I'm Grace Eckerly and welcome to CoastTV News Midday. Starting off with taking a live look into Rehoboth Beach. It is a snowy aftermath from this weekend's storm. And Chris, you have been busy tracking this recent storm, tracking a potential storm. There's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, more importantly, it's that bitterly cold air that we've been telling you about, that it's here, and it's actually going to get even worse, believe it or not, over the next few days. You can see wind chills across the area. It feels like 13 in Lewis, feels like 15 in Long Neck, 10 in Georgetown, and it feels like 15 as those winds continue out of the west-northwest. We're seeing plenty of sunshine trying to warm us up, not doing all that well there, but we have another cold front stationed across the upper Great Lakes region. That's going to swing through. You can see not a lot of moisture with that front, but what it's going to do is kind of reinforce the Arctic air across the region. So temperatures today holding in the mid to upper 20s. We could graze the 30-degree threshold there across the eastern shore, and then we'll fall back into the teens eventually tonight. But notice the wind chills feeling anywhere between about 17 to 20 across the area through the afternoon. And it's going to be another frigid night. We're going to fall back into the single digits. Wind chills falling as low as -3. And yes, tracking wind chills as low as -10 by the end of the week. We'll talk more about that and the latest on our impending storm over the weekend here in a few minutes.
Thanks, Chris, and be sure to download the Coast TV app for your phone and your tablet. We've been using it for special coverage of that weekend's storm, but also our news is always on this. And in case you didn't know, you can also get Coast TV streaming apps for your TV with devices like Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Happening today, a number of school districts will continue changes due to the snow and extremely cold temperatures. Seaford School District and Woodbridge School District will operate under a snow day. Cape and Lopin School District says schools are closed, but students will participate in synchronous learning. Then Laurel, Milford, and Indian River School Districts say students will participate in asynchronous learning. Now, what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous learning? Well, synchronous learning requires students to attend scheduled classes and complete assignments together, whereas asynchronous allows students to work at their own pace and complete assignments on their own time. Colleges across Delmarva also taking precautions due to the weather. According to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, all classes will be held virtually this week. Residence Hall move-ins are being delayed until next weekend. And Salisbury University also hosting virtual classes all week, with in-person classes expected to resume on Monday, February 2nd. Delaware State University is announcing students will move to synchronous or asynchronous learning, and all of their campus events will be canceled for today. New this morning, a hearing scheduled for a potential change to Delaware's Fairness in Girls Sports Act. Senate Bill 215 would require schools to designate their athletic teams as either girls or boys. This bill is on the act that requires athletes to play for teams that correspond to their biological sex. According to state leaders, the Education Committee will review the proposed changes at a hearing tomorrow at 1 p.m. You can find more about Senate Bill 215 and the hearing. That's on the article on our website right now, coasttv.com. In Maryland, a tractor trailer carrying propane turned over Monday morning, and that was on Route 50. Maryland State Police say the trailer tipped when heading west on Route 50 just before Junction 113. Police say weather conditions did not appear to contribute to the accident. Only minor injuries to the driver, but the tank did leak. Delmarva Power saying that its systems held up well during the winter storm, with few outages reported across Delmarva and Maryland. The company says years of upgrades and quick work by crews made the difference, but even with that success, Delmarva Power is now asking regulators to raise electric rates. The utility wants nearly $68 million more in base rates and a higher monthly customer charge. If approved, interim rates could take effect next summer. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino is leaving Minneapolis this week, and the number of Customs and Border Patrol agents will be reduced. That's according to two officials. NBC's Alice Barr shows us how lawmakers are calling for transparent investigations and oversight after recent shootings in the past few days.
A shifting landscape in Minneapolis this morning, where the outcry over federal agents shooting 37-year-old Alex Preddy to death is prompting the Trump administration to shake up its leadership on the ground and reduce the number of Border Patrol agents there. That's according to an administration official and a law enforcement source. State and local officials have been pressing for a federal agent pullout.
What justifies this disproportionate flood? Nothing legitimate.
The White House confirming Border Czar Tom Homan will now head up operations in Minneapolis, with the controversial Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino moving out, according to two sources, and the administration defending its top Homeland Security leadership.
Secretary Noem still has the utmost confidence and trust of the President of the United States.
DHS Secretary Noem now scheduled to testify on Capitol Hill amid mounting bipartisan frustration. Republican Senator John Curtis saying he disagreed with Noem's, quote, premature DHS response before all the facts were known in the Preddy shooting, weakening confidence, he says. A growing number of GOP lawmakers calling for an independent investigation, as multiple cell phone videos verified and analyzed by NBC News contradict the Trump administration's initial description, suggesting Preddy was a domestic terrorist. Local officials say he was legally carrying his gun. Outside the Minneapolis VA hospital, where Preddy worked as an ICU nurse, a growing memorial and mounting grief from past patients.
He held my hand and he told me things were going to get better.
That now a devout wish for a city in turmoil. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
New this morning, Velo Airlines has announced a new co-branded credit card at the Wilmington Airport. The airline says the card is designated to work with its existing services and offers travel-related perks like priority boarding and a free carry-on. Velo officials say the move is part of an important effort to expand Velo's loyalty options for its customers. Now stay with us on CoastTV News today, because coming up after the break, blood donors needed. Why the blood bank of Delmarva says donations right now are crucial.
Staying warm is the order of duty here over the next few days. A frigid air mass set to work in by the end of the week. Sub-zero wind chills and potentially some record cold highs. Congratulations to Peter Lynch of Lewis, Delaware, on winning an umbrella from CoastTV. We'll have the latest on more cold and a potential weekend storm threat.
Happening today, the Blood Bank of Delmarva will hold its largest blood drive of the year in Ocean City. The 27th annual Ocean City Blood Drive is taking place now. It comes at an important time, as January is National Blood Donor Month, signifying the time of the year where donated is most important. To donate, you can head to the Roland E. Powell Convention Center today. That began at 9 a.m. and it will run until 6 p.m. tonight. And if you can't make it today, tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Blood Bank actually says that they're now facing a significant supply crisis following the storm. The weather caused cancellations of blood drives and closed donation sites. The inventory has dropped by over 200 whole blood and pallet units, so the Blood Bank is encouraging people to donate now if they can. And several warming centers across Delmarva will remain open as dangerously cold temperatures continue. According to the Wicomico County Health Department, shelter is available at the Wicomico Civic Center today from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Dorchester County, people can head to a temporary shelter at 200 Washington Street in Cambridge. And in Talbot County, the Talbot and Faith Shelter is open from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. Other options include the Easton Library and Grace Street Recovery Wellness Center. Coming up next, Chris Mascherano, we said before, man of the hour. He is a busy guy this week. He's got your full forecast, including the threat of another winter storm this weekend after this.
Well, we have bright blue skies, beautiful sunshine. If it just wasn't for this pesky cold and these bitterly cold wind chills, in fact, we're tracking even bitterly cold, and I'm running out of words to say, even colder wind chills as we go towards the end of the week. In fact, we could be challenging some record cold highs by Friday. 22 right now in Cambridge. We are at 24 in Gumboro, 23 in Indian River Inlet. When you factor in the wind, it feels like 10 in Georgetown. It feels like 15 in Ocean City, and it feels like 14 in Rehoboth Beach. Now, we still do have cold weather advisories up for all of Sussex County and Kent County. These run through tomorrow morning at 10, as well as northern portions of the mid-shore. They canceled the cold weather advisory for the south, but we are still expecting some pretty brutal wind chills across those areas as we go into tomorrow and through the rest of the week. Clear skies across the peninsula. You can see the stratocumulus clouds filtering over the warmer ocean as that Arctic air settles in. We have high pressure to the south. This cold front is going to reintroduce another shot of Arctic air as we go into the night tonight. Well, we have a record of 12 days of at or below 32 degrees, and that was back on February 20th, 1979. Our current streak this week is likely going to be our longest streak since 2017 and 2018. As you see those temperatures staying well below average here through Monday, and we finally get just above the freezing mark as we go into early next week. Plenty of sunshine. We'll top out around 30 in Lewis, 29 in Georgetown, 29 in Snow Hill. So Futurecast shows a few showers, a few snow showers, maybe even a flurry or two as we go into the evening. That's the cold front pushing through, that colder air ushering in another bitter night as we fall back into the single digits. The wind chill feeling like -1 in Milton come early tomorrow morning, 0 in Lewis. And then there's that even colder air, as I was telling you about, by Thursday, feeling like -8 Ellendale, feeling like -5 in Ocean City. That will continue, unfortunately, into Friday morning, feeling like -2 in Dewey Beach. So you get the picture. This is a relentless cold. So avoid prolonged exposure to the cold. No signs of hypothermia. Stay at home if you don't need to be out. Never use your oven to heat your home. And of course, protect your pets. So the next 3 days, we have plenty of sunshine. We're going to stay dry, but again, bitterly cold, especially as we go into Thursday and Friday as we struggle to get out of the 20s. Say it ain't so, right? Another coastal storm that we're keeping a close eye on as we go into the weekend. How close does the low track to the coast? Do we have a rapidly intensifying area of low pressure? All the models have a coastal low. It's all going to be about the track, and now we're going to have a wind, beach erosion, and potential tidal flooding component with this storm system, unlike what we had with last weekend's storm. So expecting the snow to be at the coast by Saturday night into Sunday, and then that system will likely clear out Sunday night in through Monday morning. So pay close attention to the forecast here over the next few days. 29, sunny and cold day, feeling like 13 to 19, 11 overnight with that flurry possible in the early evening. We see a high of 26 into our Wednesday. Again, those wind chills holding in the teens during the warmest part of the day. 20, that could challenge a record cold high there. We fall to 6 into Saturday morning, and then watching that threat of some snow Saturday into Sunday. And then, yeah, look at that. Welcome into Groundhog Day on Monday, 34 degrees. Grace.
Thanks, Chris. It's certainly going to feel like Groundhog Day with another threat of snow this weekend. And ahead of that, be sure to download the Coast TV app for your phone and your tablet. We used it last weekend for the special coverage of that storm. We'll use it again this weekend. But always, all of our news is on this. And in case you didn't know, you can also get the Coast TV streaming app for your TV with devices like Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. And coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 7:30 p.m., Stellar fights 70. Then catch Outdoors Delmarva at 11:30 p.m. Today, Tuesday, January 27th, is International Holocaust Memorial Day. It's a time to remember the roughly 6 million Jews who died at the hands of Nazis. The U.S. Holocaust Museum says some people honor them by reading names of the victims, lighting candles, or in silent moments of reflection. Auschwitz survivors paid tributes to the 81st anniversary today of the liberation of the Nazi German death camp by Soviet troops. The Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum and Memorial Preservations, the Auschwitz death camp set up by Polish soil by Nazi Germany during World War II. Now don't go anywhere, because coming up this morning, ICE agents are to be deployed to the Winter Olympics this year. We have the reactions from Italian officials next. Meta platforms, TikTok and YouTube will face courtroom scrutiny in California today over allegations that their platforms are feeling a youth mental health crisis. Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, is expected to take the witness stand TikTok declining to comment about the company's planned arguments in court, and YouTube executives saying that their platform will argue fundamentally different than others and should not be lumped together in court. And the Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents will go to Italy for the Olympics. A DHS spokesperson says that they'll be in a security role. They won't enforce U.S. immigration laws since they'll be in a foreign country. Current and former Italian lawmakers are urging the Prime Minister to bar those agents. They point to the recent deadly shootings of 2 U.S. citizens in Minneapolis.
Well, we have the sunshine on our side on this Tuesday as we continue to see bitterly cold temperatures, 23 degrees, feeling like the teens. Mostly sunny skies to the afternoon as we top out in the upper 20s. You can always call our CoastTV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast, and I'll have that 10-day next. Well, I hope you're staying warm out there on Delmarva. You see the ice there beginning to form in the Indian River Bay here. Plenty of blue skies through the afternoon. We're at 26 degrees, and we'll have those temperatures top out right around 30 at Ocean View, and most of the areas across interior Delmarva staying in the mid to upper 20s. And we're going to have wind chills in the below zero range here from Wednesday through Friday. Very cold air works right back in, and then setting the stage for that potential snow as we go into Saturday night through Sunday, and then we finally get above the freezing mark as we go into Monday. And look at that, Grace, by next Thursday, a week from Thursday, 40 degrees. Heat wave, right?
Oh my gosh, everyone's going to be getting their tanning now. They're going to start, at Pensick specifically. It'll feel nice and warm, but not really. Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you for joining us for Coast TV News at Midday. If you would like more local news or local weather, especially ahead of this weekend's projected storm, you can download our Coast TV News app, and don't forget to join us back here for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. Until then, have a great Tuesday.